keeps coming back to this idea of the arts being such a necessary part of our lives. It's a necessity. It's not a luxury. It's always, it's always the first to go. We do the chopping, at the top of the government. Arts always seems to be the first to go, and it's like, why? It's so important. It's a place for all the crazy freaks to go and to express themselves, but it's also so important for people to have that experience that is different than television, that is different than film, that is live, that is an experience like no other, to be in the room with people, live and living, breathing, happening in front of you. It's such a unique experience. And out here, I mean, it's amazing because out here, I think there's something like 100 shows that open up every week in Los Angeles of one kind or another. And things are so set to be competitive. It's really set to be like, well, what am I going to see? And I got to read what the critic says, and I got to spend my money somewhere. And I work all week, and I only have one thing I can see. And so it becomes like how to grab people in that way. And the Fringe, it's a little different because you do want people to see your show, but you want them to also be part of the whole experience. I want my cast to go out and see a bunch of shows and to be a part of the overall Fringe experience. There's all kinds of cool things and parties and things that are happening. Some stuff will be online, some will be live. And it's not just theater, but it's this social aspect of connecting with other people. And so this is everything. It's got the social part, it's got the arts part, it's got the networking part where you're meeting people. And when you're proud of the work that you're doing and you're seeing other people do good work, you feel that sense of community. And I think every community wants to be a part of a community. We all want to be part of something larger than ourselves. And this is such a great event because it allows you to go see a whole bunch of different things and see a bunch of theater. And some of the theater companies involved, they don't do anything else during the year. They don't have a space, or they don't, have a season. And this is the one time you get to see it, and you go, oh my God, these people are amazing. It's incredible. So there's a symbiotic relationship. You might meet somebody who's a photographer while they're taking, pictures of your show, and then you find out, oh, they're also a writer. And it's like, hey, what about, trying this? Is such a connecting point. And you can really feel it at the Fringe, is that it's not a competitive atmosphere as much as it's sort of a community where there's room enough for everybody. There's room enough for everybody to go see their shows. You want everybody to sell out their shows. You want everybody to have a great time. When you go see somebody's show, you want to, see them afterwards and go, oh, you did an amazing job, and you want to say, like, I hope you come see my show. It's just like that symbiotic, like, we're a community and we're here to support. And I think it's especially important in this town where, as an artist, as an actor, you can feel so isolated. You can feel so competitive. You're in auditions and you're going up against people. And you're set up to feel like you're going up against people in this industry, and it's that's all well and good, but we're a community. We want to support each other, and I think that anything also that bridges the gap between the neighborhood that your theater is in, the neighborhood that your venue is in, bridging that gap, because a lot of people walk by and they're like they feel a sense of like, I don't know what that is. A lot of the theaters, especially in this town, are, in poorer neighborhoods. And you want to break that obstacle, that wall between the people who live there and the people who perform there. You want it to be more connected and more symbiotic. And I think that it's our job as the artists to reach across that bridge into those communities, into those neighborhoods, and say, hey, we're awesome. We're as good for the community as the Boys Club or the YMCA is, right? We want you to walk through these doors. We want you to experience stuff. We want you to come in for a workshop. We want you to, to pursue your own dreams of acting or performing or writing, right? It's not just about artists. And that's the hard part. We have to break through that. We have to get people into the theaters that are a part of the neighborhood themselves, and don't consider themselves artists, but have that be a place where people want to gather and want to connect. So the Fringe is all of the above. It just still amazes me that how long it took me to find it when I was doing so much out here. But yeah, it's unlike anything else. It makes me want to go see other festivals in the world and see how their communities do. There's just so much cooperation, such a good vibe. Everybody you meet, you're just like, wow, what are you up to? What are you doing? And you just get creative ideas. It's like a creative think tank as you talk to different people, and it's unlimited. It's unlimited, like the types of things that we can do. And I think there's something for everybody.
I really think that events like the Hollywood Fringe are really vital to artistic economy. It provides spaces for new, up and coming, undiscovered artists, theater artists, to really come and tell the stories that they want to tell. You know, it's an open festival, so anyone can put on a show in it, and I think that's incredible to be part of a fringe festival. You know, that name has such legitimacy, and to have that open to any play, as weird or new or groundbreaking or envelope pushing as it might be, that's necessary. That's necessary for us as artists to have spaces like that where people can really test the waters, where people can really go beyond and not worry about what other people are going to think of it, but tell a story that means something to them, and know that because it's meaningful to them, it has meaning. And art, theater, stories that have meaning are so important. They're what feeds us. They're what inspires people. They're what pushes us to continue creating. I'm so grateful that Hollywood Fringe exists, and that it will continue to exist, and that I get to be a part of it for this year.
Things like the Hollywood Fringe are very important because even places like Sundance, once they become popular, they become overrun with celebrity directors, celebrity actors. So Robert Redford's original vision for Sundance was to have a space for original artists who were unrecognized. And that was Redford's original vision with the Sundance, that here we will create a safe haven for unique new voices. And the Hollywood Fringe is still a safe haven for unique original voices. And the community, absolutely, since the community is Hollywood, LA, Pasadena, Orange County, people can drive there to support it. It's a little gem of diverse voices and strong voices who are taking a courageous risk. So I think it's very important for the community to keep the Hollywood Fringe going and to have audiences show up. Since now everyone's going to restaurants, I don't see any reason people can't go to the Fringe.
The Hollywood Fringe Festival is so important because it gives creators a space to create, a safe, wonderful space where artists can co-collaborate and create outlets of expression that are safe and fun and unique and gorgeous in their own right. And communities need to help this because that's what gives artists their pulse. Like, we all have day jobs. We all have things that we do to make the bread, to get what we need done. And for a lot of artists, productions and showcases like the Hollywood Fringe Festival give this space of community and love and support that everyone desperately needs. And we can all benefit from each other. We all support each other's productions too. Like, I've been out to see over 10 Fringe festivals, 10 Fringe Festival plays this year, thanks to live stream, which has been really awesome. There's something about the community that is connected to all of this that gives everybody else this like safe haven to be with each other and to co-create. And that's what makes it so magical.
Well, the Fringe Festival was created in Edinburgh, in the 40s as a fringe. You know, it's on the fringe of the actual theater events. if I can think of an analogy or think of something that's similar, for myself, I really love film festivals because of the fact they have an event that's short film festivals. Right? And a lot of these plays are 40 minutes or less, right? They're on the shorter end. But I can go to an event or spend a day at a film festival, and at a short fest, I could see 6 or 7 films, right? And I mean, like, that's a fantastic way to just really, you can see a lot of great content in a short amount of time. And especially with live theater, you know, with live theater, which is when the lights go down and your phones are off, very, you know, and you can just get immersed into a situation. It's very different than watching something at home, which is difficult. And yeah, it's immersive. It's an experience, and it's happening in front of you, right? So that makes it exciting. So,
well, I think the Hollywood Fringe Festival is important because it gives artists like me a platform to share the things that we think are important. You know, Hollywood and even, you know, Broadway is such a vast universe that oftentimes these very niche stories, like the one I want to tell, kind of get thrown by the wayside, and not for any other reason. And there's just so many to tell. And so I think the Hollywood Fringe Festival kind of narrows that down and allows people who are passionate about theater and have something that they think is important to say, a platform to do that. And I think as far as the community supporting artists, I think that's important too. Not only because I want butts and seats, but also because I think community in and of itself is important. And I think COVID has taught, at least me, but I think COVID's taught a lot of people that the quality of our lives are the quality of our relationships. And I think the Fringe Festival really does try to foster those relationships between people, between artist to artist, and also artist to community. Because for myself, I know that because I'm doing this alone, I've had to reach out to people in my community who may or may not be involved in theater, and they've supported me, and the response has been overwhelming to my heart. I mean, the other day I just sat in my room and bawled like a baby for just gratitude of, you know, the outpouring of support that I've received, and a lot of it unsolicited. And I think that just does something for, it makes me want to weep right now. I think that just does something for humanity.
Yeah, I think events like this are really important because this, you know, this is going to be in 10 years. These are the artists you're going to be seeing, you know, like jump on this train now. Like this needs SoCal's support and LA's support, because also LA, like this is a very wealthy city. Like there are a lot of very wealthy people here, or at least very comfortable people here. And if you have the means to do so, you know, you have to give back to this particular world, like independent young artists, broke artists, like people that are making work from the ground up. That's like grassroots work too. That's not censored by big media, and that's not, you know, influenced by giant producers with huge budgets that are usually billionaires that don't understand, have no idea, you know, they're in space, like they don't have any idea what's going on the ground. So yeah, I think it's beyond like a good thing to do. Like it's literally crucial, because we also deserve better art, you know, across the board in terms of what's available to the public. So if it's available to you and you have the means to go see it, you got to fund it.
why events like the Hollywood Fringe Festival are events that the community needs to support. As we said, this is a live, this is all happening live. This is involving, from the streets, the people, the artists that you're going to be seeing are among you. They're with you. They're not a group that's just out there, in some vacuous place. I mean, they live with you. Every effort I see is being made to diversify the festival, get as many different voices in there as possible, and anything that it's even trying to achieve that deserves your support.
Yeah, I mean, if the last year has taught us anything, it's that, while we can technically survive sort of all in isolation, it's not really living. It's certainly not
Right.
thriving. And if we let ourselves sort of stay isolated and stay atomized and, stay on our couches watching things on our TVs, as legitimate as that can be many times, if we let the organizations that create events like Fringe, those events that bring us into community with each other, if we let that die out, then that's going to be to our detriment over a much longer period than just this past year of the pandemic. So we have to really intentionally, I think, work to preserve and rebuild those structures that help us do that.
Yeah, I think the Fringe Festival is important to local community, and why the community should support it is because the Fringe Festival is a reflection of the community. These are these artistic expressions that are happening, and it's happening from, not completely from people in this local area and in this community, but also the global theater community is coming in as well, and so yeah, we get to see this expression of ourselves from ourselves, essentially.
These events they're so unique, and it's important for us to keep it alive because we want to hear people's stories. We want to be able to connect and just seeing these shows, they sort of give you a different perspective on life that otherwise you may not even begin to explore. But these shows, they're full with so much passion and hard work that it just, you can't help but expand your soul and your knowledge and your perception of life. And I think that's what theater does. And I think that's what this festival does. And for that reason, it's so important that we keep it alive. It's so important that we support it. And it's just fun. Who doesn't love a festival?